Alright guys, we're gonna go paint. The weather is beautiful out. It's like 60 degrees, you know, for it being the end of January. I mean, literally the last day of January. Weather's perfect for spray painting. So we're gonna be taking this bad boy outside and giving it a quick coat of satin white. I just gotta quickly go over my masking, make sure it's kind of pressed down. If I get a little bit on the black, it's no big deal. I can take it off with some acetone, not a huge deal. But I do need to get the paint on today because I want it to be able to lay down correctly and dry correctly. And yeah, so it'll be nice and smooth because I don't want to have to strip it and redo it. That would suck. Have I ever mentioned that I hate rattle cans? I hate spray paint. It's pissed me off. Let me expand on that. Just because I have an airbrush, right? It's a little small to be painting something as big as a helmet here. Because it would take all day and my whole basement would be a cloud of paint dust. Having a rattle can is like having a fire hose of paint. You can't control the mix of the paint, so you know, adding more thinner to paint, you know, changing those ratios, you have no control. It's chemically hot, so it will react with things, and if you want to put on a second coat and you do it at the wrong time, it will react with the coat that's already underneath it. And because you can't control the mixture of the paint and you can't control the flow, because it's basically just an on-off switch, it's really easy to get runs. And yeah, it just drives me crazy, and the fumes are awful. I spray painted this outside. It has made my entire house smell like spray paint. All the way on the top floor. I mean, down in the basement, 2 levels up, I'm smelling spray paint. It drives me crazy. The good news is it's painted. It's not a great paint job, but the majority of the mistakes, I don't know if they call them mistakes, the weird spots are covered up. So I don't have to do a whole lot. There's like a run that's on the back that I got to take care of. I got to sand that down a little bit. But the good thing is we're going to be weathering this thing. We're going to be putting decals on it. So all this stuff pretty much is going to get covered up and hidden and covered in whatever filthy, you know, paint, which I will be applying with my airbrush, which is nice. So that's going to be able to hide our sins in the best way possible. And another thing is, you know, we're gonna beat it up a little bit too. We're gonna weather it. It's gonna, you know. But I needed a consistent, even coat, and that Bondo was, you know, too red for what we needed. Anyways, that being said, it's painted. I'll show you right there. I gotta pull the masking off and check all the stuff underneath. But yeah, we're making progress. And another thing about an airbrush that's nice is you can put on really thin coats, either by controlling how much paint by, you know, how much you pull back is how much paint goes into it, right? And you can very lightly just build up your coats, which is how I like to do it, or by changing the ratio of the paint. Either way, it's a better way to do it. You get less unevenness and you get less runs because you can put a thin coat down, let it dry. Put a thin coat down, let it dry. Spray paint, it's just, you know, I hate it. Alright, it's been 6 months since all the footage you just watched happened. That was like the beginning of the video. I said it's end of January. It is now near the end of June, and I have not worked on the helmet since then. So you are caught up to date with the footage on the helmet. As far as the concerns go about the helmet, the runs can be sanded down. Not a big deal. There's some thin spots in the paint where you can kind of see the undercolor of the primer. I'm not worried about that. I can always throw down some paint with an airbrush. Also, I may not bother because I think it'll give it an extra dimension of weathering. So, because we're gonna weather the crap out of this thing. So I'm not too worried about that. There's some weird spots kind of around where the bolts go, but they are pretty much covered up when you put the ram's horn back on. Can't really see that stuff. So really we're not sitting that bad. Just a bit of sanding, maybe a little bit more paint put on to touch up. But really the biggest thing is if I use spray paint again, I'm worried that it might react with the layer that I've already put down, which is definitely a concern because I do not like spray paint. If you haven't, the one theme of this video, if you haven't picked up on, is I don't like spray paint. I have my reasons. I have my history with it. Yeah, so because I didn't film an outro 6 months ago, this is the outro. And I will hopefully be back to working on things. I don't count on it, but been pretty busy. I've barely been home the last month. So, yeah. So this is the outro, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.